Hello and welcome to Hub City Now. I'm your host, Tyrone Tony Reed Jr. We have another wonderful show for you today. We have a wonderful guest here today with us. His name is Luke Harrison. He's 18 of Australia. He's a singer, songwriter, performer, dancer, actor, and he's multi-instrumental, playing piano, drums, and percussions. And I said to myself, wow, that's an amazing person to have on my show. And we're so happy to have him here with us today. Thank you for joining us, Luke. We appreciate you being here.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor and a privilege, and it's crazy that we get to do this. I'm all the way in Australia. You
And
guys
we're
are
in
over there.
Jackson, Tennessee. Yeah,
Exactly right. So how crazy is that we now get to connect? It's so good, man.
that's right. That's awesome. So we're here to talk we're talking to Luke about his recently released single "Make Me Better," and he's also working on some more new singles. But before we get into that, he's only 18 years old, and I looked up his biography, and I'm telling you that if I did half of the stuff that he did when I was 18, I don't know how to have the energy to do an interview all the way across the world. But he has done a lot, and that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with your background, Luke. Tell us how you got into singing and performing and dancing. Was that something that you always had? I mean, before we do that, his biography says that his
Mm-hmm.
very first word at 11 months old was amazing, and his biography says, and that has been the theme of his life ever since. So tell us about your childhood and how you got into this industry.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just had my 19th birthday.
Okay,
So
happy birthday.
19 now. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. But 19 now, which first of all is kind of, not scary, but it's a step above. So,
Right.
I'm not that old yet, but 20 next year, so that's gonna be insane. But for me, I have always felt, ever since I can remember, that music has been part of my life. I
Mhm.
don't think I remember a day where, I wasn't screaming out and dancing to some song or playing the piano. I started playing the piano when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
And yeah, I started doing the drums when I was 11. And so when I started to sing and put everything together, I was about 8. And I remember I was, doing a lot of choir things, performing around my schools here in Australia. And then I started doing these competitions, and, I did all right. And so I thought to myself, this could really be something that I could continue to do.
Mhm.
But it really was solidified for me and also for my family. When I performed at my grandfather's funeral, I was 8 years old. And
Wow.
so I just remember looking around the room and, for a funeral, which can be quite, something
Solemn.
sad and
Mhm.
solemn, exactly.
Mhm.
But I remember just I sang the song "You Raised Me Up" by Josh Groban. And
Mhm.
so I remember looking around the room after singing that song, and there was something about the room that had made it more into a celebration of life
Right.
rather than, this death that had happened in our family. And so it was at that point that I realized, my voice and my gift could actually really make an impact on the world. And
Right.
so ever since that moment, my journey through music, my life has been just one absolute roller coaster for a teenager, for a kid, going through school and doing things, big musical theater shows. My first ever musical theater production was in The Sound of Music. I was
Okay.
Friedrich, and so that was when I was 11 years old. And
Wow.
so, going up in 6th grade to do all the rehearsals for the shows, like, all year, and then having the show period and, having that double life as a kid was really, really exciting.
Right.
And it's something that, I'll always cherish and I love to this day. But my background really started in singing around and then realizing, that this could really be something that I could do for the rest of my life. And ever since that moment, I've been songwriting, recording, and producing, and
Mhm.
performing around Australia and in the States too. So now
Mhm.
I'm here, freshly 19, and just so excited for what's to come.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So you mentioned your musical theater and performances. Let's go back to that. Tell us about some of the roles that you've been in and where you performed and how awesome that's been for you.
Yeah. I was 11 years old when I got the call from the producers down here in Australia for basically our leading theatre company that tour around Australia to say, hey, you've got the role of Friedrich in The Sound of Music, and we
Hmm.
would love to have you on the team. And so this was like the first proper big show, big performance thing that I had really done in my life. And I
Right.
just remember kind of just not really, I guess, understanding it at first, like, oh, okay, that sounds like fun. And then,
Right.
as you do as an 11-year-old, you don't really grasp just how amazing this is. And then
Mhm.
I remember coming in to the studio and the rehearsal on the first day, and I came in, and then 9 hours later, I came out, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is the real deal." And
Right.
they are
Right.
not afraid to, put you in your place and get you as show ready as they can because, as kids, it can be hectic, for this show. And so I remember doing this for like 3 to 4 months. Excuse the birds. In
No, that's
Australia, we have
fine.
so many birds everywhere, it's crazy. But I remember doing this for like 3 to 4 months. The Sound of Music, an amazing production, and going up and down every day. And then when it came to the show week itself, it was
Mhm.
actually a show month and a half. I just
Mhm.
remember having, as an 11-year-old, having the time of my life, going
Awesome.
backstage every night, going in, getting ready with the kids, and then going on stage to do the show, 2.5 hour show. And
Wow.
so after that, I guess that kind of paved the way for me to do a lot of musical theater when I was younger. So
Mhm.
I was the Artful Dodger in Oliver.
Mhm.
Uh, and I was also Michael Banks in Mary Poppins.
Okay.
And then I
Wow.
was J. Silvers in the Strictly Ballroom, which is a musical that I don't know how many Americans know, but it's pretty popular down here in Australia. It's an
Right.
Australian-based movie, and so starting off doing both singing, acting, and dancing all in one was actually something I am really grateful for because it made me love the triple threat
Right.
ness of of this industry. And so it was since then that I began getting into more acting and into my singing and honing in on my craft, and it really just created an amazing childhood for me that I am so grateful for, and something that I will always cherish forever.
Right. So tell us, there's, I'm sure, a lot of listeners and a lot of viewers who are going to watch this and go, he's 19 years old. He did all these things already. For those who are interested in getting in those areas, how did you go about doing that? Did your parents find those auditions? How did that get set up?
Yeah, I think as I was performing more and more around my city and around my state, people would, I guess, come up to you and ask you, to do some gigs here and there and
Mhm.
perform at these things. Sometimes I'd be just at a gathering and of families or whatever it would be, and people would be like, "Hey, Luke, you sing, right?" And this was when I was like 12, 13. You
Right.
sing, right? Hey, you should audition for this. You should do this. And so I
Mhm.
think it was through a great network of socialization. Australians are very, very social people, very relaxed. We love to get together.
Right.
And so I think it was through that that I really, was able to have these opportunities. Of course, I had a manager and an agent as well, and so you always get things from them too.
Right.
But it was still a big, effort from a lot of people, and just getting connected with a lot of people that was able to point me in a direction that best suited where I wanted to be,
Right.
and gift. And so that's how I was able to achieve a lot of these roles. Of course, you only get into the first step, and then you've got to do it yourself. You got to get it all the way after that. You get to
Mhm.
that first audition, and then you got to make sure that you put the game face on, because after that, it is serious, and it can
Right.
honestly sometimes it can sometimes be really harsh when you get cut from an audition,
Right.
especially ones that I've really wanted in the past, because I have not made every audition that I've been auditioned for. I've not made every show that I've auditioned for. There are definitely shows that I didn't get into,
Right.
uh, and it's a humbling experience, and it's amazing because you get to understand more about yourself,
Right.
and that is something I'm also eternally grateful for.
Let,
Um, but yeah.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. How do you deal with the rejection when you
Mm,
know that this is something that I want to do? This is something I believe I can be very good at, and keep going to audition after audition, even though you've had that rejection. How did you deal with that? For the people who are listening or watching, how do you get past that?
Yeah, well, I think when you're young,
Hmm.
sometimes you think that this is the be all and the end all.
Hmm.
And so I had a great support network from my family. My
Hmm.
family have done so much for me. And so I remember, my mom would sit me down and or my dad or even my sister, and we'd talk about it and we'd say, okay, like, why didn't we get this thing? This role, like what happened this time? And throughout my life, I've come to know that, and I think and I believe that everything happens for a reason. And
Right.
so everything that I haven't, I've been rejected for, that I haven't made in, something else has always come about, whether that be a performance in the States for something that was in Australia, a show, something has always happened where I think to myself, that just wasn't right with
Hmm.
that show or that thing, that performance. And so I think handling rejection in the first place is something that if you can master it when you're young,
Hmm.
it will set you up for the rest of your life,
Right.
because it's one of the hardest things that I think I've ever had to do, to get a phone call and say, hey man, we don't want to use you for this. We found someone better. The
Mm.
first thing you think about is,
Right. Right.
what did I do wrong?
Right.
And sometimes it's not what did you do wrong. Sometimes it's actually nothing about that. Sometimes
Hmm.
it's the look they want for this performance.
Hmm.
They just the biggest thing actually for me when I was young is because I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'2",
Okay.
and so when I was younger, I had a growth spurt early, and so I did a lot of auditions for big shows around Australia and the Pacific and New Zealand,
Hmm.
where I was just like 2 centimeters too tall for the role. And I remember going in, I was really confident, and then it was just
Hmm.
like, "Hey, man, there's no point you being here. You're just too tall." And
Hmm.
so, I know, right? And so when you're 11 and 12 and 14, and you're hearing that, it's like, man, it can be really disheartening. But
Right.
what I always want to remember is that, you know, I'm not here, I guess, to prove myself to anyone. I know, that I've been given this gift, and I know that I'm able to sing, and I will do my best all the time.
Hmm.
Oh, that's just a bug on my face. But yeah, handling rejection is something that if you can master it early, if you can just, take a step out and look at it from an outward perspective and
Hmm.
really see that, this is not everything in life. There is more than just this one show, this one performance. Then I think, you'll handle it way better than if you just, think about losing everything as soon as
Right.
you get that call. And I felt like that before. And I
Hmm.
felt like that before, but I was lucky to have some people around me, to reset you, settle you in, and
Hmm.
really get over those hurdles in life, which is just a part of life.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So when was the first time you got to come to the States? Was that this year or have you been there before?
I have been there before. I
Okay.
actually went over when I was 5 years old.
Okay. Do you remember that?
To Disneyland. I remember the flight. I don't remember being in Disneyland.
Okay.
Okay, there's actually one thing I do remember, and it's only because my mom actually showed me a photo of it the other day.
Hmm.
There's like this is like 15, yeah, like 14 years ago.
Hmm.
So they had this thing where you could go and have like lunch with like the princesses of Disney.
Okay.
Remember my sister and mom were gonna go do that. My sister had booked it, like, to go and have lunch. She was like 4 at the time.
Hmm.
And I remember, like, last minute, she didn't wanna do it. And so I said, of course I said, "Oh, hey, I'll do it." And
Right.
so
Right. Right.
I was scrolling through these photos the other day of me having this lunch at age 5 with these Disney princesses. It's something so crazy. But, like, that's who I am. Like, I am so out there, I'm ready to go. And so that is, like, my first memory of the States,
Okay.
right? It's crazy that that is what it is. But, man, I have been very fortunate. I've been over there many times to perform. I actually recorded, my first ever album in Portland at Crossroads Studio when I was
Okay.
12. So, yeah, that was an amazing experience.
Hmm.
Um, and then since then, yeah, I've been going over in the last 2 years quite a lot, connecting with people, getting some performances, and just really networking my career as an artist.
That's awesome. So you this year you performed live at the Fox Theater in Los Angeles for Unity Day, LA. What was that
Yes,
like? What was that like for you?
that was amazing. That was like my first big performance in the States for quite a while. I performed a lot when I was a boy soprano when I was younger.
Okay.
Um, now, as a pop vocalist and an artist, that was like crazy. And I actually performed my own original song,
Okay, wow.
with a sneak peek of an original song of mine that actually isn't released yet.
Okay.
So that was a lot of fun. And I just remember that Fox Theater is huge. It's like,
Mhm.
something really regal. It's beautiful architecture. But it was amazing just to connect with the people in the audience and just sing to the LA crowd, which are a
Mhm.
crazy, vibrant group of people. And they're awesome, man. They were feeding
Right.
me back the energy, and it was great to just, put on a show and
Mhm.
give the people an amazing night to remember. It was awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you've performed a lot, like you said, in the past 2 years. You've performed a lot. I mean, a whole lot.
I
What
Yeah.
performances have really stood out to you where you go, "Wow, this is my life now."
Mm. There was a not so much a program, but a show that ran here in Australia
Mhm.
for high school aged kids across Australia.
Okay.
And so it was a show they'd put on every year.
Mhm.
And, the government would do it. And it was a really good, highly funded show. And you'd have to audition to get vocal parts and the lead vocal part out of everyone in Australia. I was very fortunate enough to get it 3 times in a row
Wow.
in my state of
Wow.
Queensland. So yeah, that's Creative Generations Spectacular is what they called it. And
Mhm.
so that was, imagine like a huge Broadway show mixed in with dance, mixed in with a drama production, mixed in with like an Adele concert of people just doing
Right.
power ballads, right? That's what that show was. And so I was very fortunate to get, the lead vocal role for that each year. And so being 16 and 17 and 18 in that show was
Mhm.
insane. Doing 6, 7 songs throughout a night, an arena full of people, a stage that was like 50 meters by 50 meters running around. One of the greatest memories of my life will be singing Feeling Good by Michael Bublé.
Mhm.
That show. I just remember, man, just putting on the suit, just strutting on stage, and just being able to have an amazing night and just see the audience faces, light
Right.
up. It's a song that everyone knows, everyone loves that song,
Right.
and that's a song that everyone, felt good,
Mhm.
when you sing that. And so I just remember, man, going onto that stage and just really belting it out. And other songs like Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. We
Mhm.
had a whole Beatles medley last year, and it was crazy, man. It was great. To also discover new styles of music.
Right.
And for me as an artist, I'm only 19, and I definitely haven't found exactly who I am yet in music. It's a journey
Right.
for me always.
Mhm.
And so singing so many different genres, so many different, types of music, different artists' songs has been truly eye-opening and amazing to get an insight into how people, write music and make music too.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that was an amazing show, man. Amazing performance over the last 3 years. We'll never forget it. It's
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so
That's
amazing.
awesome. That is so awesome. And you've won many awards. According to your biography, you've won many awards for vocal, speech, drama competitions. I don't want to butcher this. Estefords
Stedford.
Mustn't. Okay, say that one more time for me.
A Stedford.
It's Stedford. What is that? Tell me about that.
So an Stedford is basically like uh it's like a competition based thing that you go into, and you
Hmm.
basically have like 20 kids per category. It could be like pop vocal category, and it's done across my state of Queensland. They also do it in other states too, but it's state
Okay.
based. And so you go into these Stedfords and you just, I guess, compete against other people in your age group, in your category,
Hmm.
and then you basically get first, second, third. I guess a pageant would be the closest thing. I don't know.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
something like that. But for singing, for acting, for drama, for dance, in solos, duos, groups, everything.
Right.
You name it
That's
in the artist creative field, they do it. And so I have been very fortunate to get some good places in a lot of those over the years, over the 5-6 years that I did it.
mhm.
Um, yeah, a lot of good places, and it was through that I was able to really understand that this could be the career path for me. And it's been an amazing eye-opening experience because I get to perform against, also some of my friends sometimes. And so,
Right.
we laugh, we have a good time. But I think the biggest thing for me going through, 6 years of doing something like that was that, and this is something that I think is the reason why I'm able to, I guess, do so much out of school and also finish school and then
Hmm.
have this busy lifestyle is that, I was never worried, I don't think, about, what place am I going to come or anything like that. I
Right.
was just always there to sing my heart out, have a good time, and really make something that was competition based just seem really purposeful, not for me, but for people watching.
Right.
And so that's always been, I guess, my mission and my vision as an artist is that I want to, make a difference, make a change in the world,
Hmm.
and I really want to impact people with my music. I think in today's industry,
Hmm.
there's a lot of music that's pushed that, when you look into it on the surface, it might be okay, but when you really look into it, it can be some really heavy stuff.
Right.
And so that's why with my new single, "Make Me Better," just to segue into that, I guess,
Hmm.
uh, I really tried to create something that can be a positive influence for all people.
Right.
And so this is a song that is about taking, someone who is broken, who is down, it could be depressed, anxious, whatever it is,
Hmm.
and having something or someone there, that can pick them up and take them from the darkness into the light to really make them better.
Right.
Uh, and so I wrote it in such a way that, you know, I really wanted people of all backgrounds, people from all walks of life to be able to relate to this song.
Hmm.
And so I think that's, something that I really enjoy about music, that I'm able to have the creative freedom to do that.
Right.
Uh, and so that is why, you know, I love having that aesthetic experience because I'm able to see, the impact and how you're able to really influence people with your music.
Right. It's a great song. I've listened to it a couple of times and I shared it with my coworkers and I'm like, I get to interview him today.
Hey, man, I appreciate that so much. I do. I
It's
mean,
awesome.
it's my favorite song, I think, so far. Not that I have favorites. I
Mhm.
think every song that I do is always different and always has its own little purpose. But yeah, I love it. It's great.
That's awesome. So tell us what we can expect to you in the future from you in the future.
Yeah, man. Well, right now is an amazing time for me. I'm writing so much music. I have some songs ready to go that are in the vault, as I like to call it, the vault, and they'll be coming out very, very soon.
Mhm.
But in the very, very near future, I'm actually releasing a Christmas song on the 1st of December.
Okay.
So I am very, very excited for that. It's been about 4 years since I released a Christmas track, and I'm coming back now for the holiday season, which is really, really exciting. I know people don't like to talk about Christmas already. It hasn't even been Thanksgiving. It hasn't been Thanksgiving yet.
Oh,
Hey,
no, but they're already putting up trees and everything here.
yeah, man, I know. But in Australia, people will start putting it up from October. It's crazy. We got nothing else to do. We don't do Thanksgiving down here, so hey, we might as well just celebrate Christmas early.
Right, right.
So really excited for that. But this is a journey that I want to continue for a long time in my life. I
Mhm.
really want this to be a career for me, and I believe that it can be a career of longevity. I see
Right,
myself on the world stage, and I hope that I'm able to have that opportunity to impact people's lives on that scale. Throughout my life. I look up to artists, like Coldplay, like Elton John, these
mhm,
big stadium performers, George Michael, a huge favorite of mine. I look up to these guys, and I think that they have had such a profound impact on our world
right,
and in the culture of music as well, bringing people together. Because, in a time today where sometimes it can be so torn between views, between whatever it is,
mhm,
I think a lot of times people speak about unity, but sometimes it doesn't happen as much as we would like it to happen. So I believe that music is an amazing way to unite people. Uh, you know, and so that's for me something that I'm always working towards. And so that's what I want to happen next. I want to be able to, go out, have those performances, and just perform for the world, man. And so it's really exciting.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell people how they can find out more about you and follow you online.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, whatever platform you're on, it's Luke Harrison Official. That's all one word, Luke Harrison Official. I've also have my website, lukeharrisonperformer.com. And then on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever platform you use, you search up my name, Luke Harrison. I will pop up for you right there. And I would love to have all of your support to everyone watching right now throughout Tennessee. It is so good to connect with you guys, connect with y'all, I should say. Y'all speak like that down there?
Yeah, we still say y'all.
Yeah, y'all say y'all down there. I love saying y'all. I call my Southern friends y'all all the time, and they don't like it, but I like it, so it's okay. But no, much love to Tennessee, man. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for listening, and yeah, that's how you guys can find me all on socials.
All right. Well, we want to thank Luke Harrison for being here. Much success to you. We'll be following you. You're always welcome on the show. We're happy to have you. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching Hub City Now. Make sure you go follow Luke Harrison and listen to his singles and share it and spread it all around the world. Thank you again, Luke. Thank you all for watching. Take care of one another. Watch out for one another. Thank you to our sponsor, Baskerville Funeral Home. And thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. We hope you have a wonderful and blessed week. Take care of one another. Watch out for one another. And take care of one another. Love each other. God bless.
I was a mess, nothing left, didn't know my right from wrong. Stuck on repeat, heading down a road to a place I don't belong. That's where you found me, I'd lost all my sense of clarity. But you saw me clearly, your eyes, your smile gave me all the hope I need for a new beginning. Now I got a purpose, cause you think I'm worth it. I was lost, but now I'm grounded. Made it through the hard times, can't believe that you are mine. Now I found your love, hold me in your arms, strengthen my heart. I've been through so much, you rescued my soul, I'm not alone. And I've been through fire, and I've been through rain, but when you're holding me, I'll never be afraid. You were the one, forever it's us. Girl, you make me better. Sometimes tempted, falling back to my old ways. You pull me through it, my fears, my doubts, you took it all away. Only you can do it, bring me out of darkness. Girl, you keep me honest, nothing else matters when I'm here with you. Staring into your eyes, I can see the light. Now I found your love, hold me in your arms, strengthen my heart. I've been through so much, you rescued my soul, I'm not alone. And I've been through fire, and I've been through rain, but when you're holding me, I'll never be afraid. You were the one, forever it's us. Girl, you make me better. I'm never going back, now we're on this track. You're making me into something new. Everything I have is yours, this is what I've waited for.